Hey, everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. Man, I'm so excited about my guest today. He is just incredibly talented with Bruce Soord from the Pineapple Thief. He's got a solo record out. I mean, the Pineapple Thief's a great band. He's a super creative guy, very intelligent musician, great writer, great guitar player, and I want to just get into it. A few quick announcements. Number one, I want to thank our good friend Matt Stevens for connecting us. From the Fierce and the Dead. Number two, make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com/subscribe and subscribe to us both on iTunes or wherever you subscribe to podcasts and on YouTube. And enter your name or your email rather on the site so you and I can connect. All righty, Bruce Soord. He's the founder, guitarist, and primary songwriter of the Pineapple Thief. The Pineapple Thief, if you haven't heard of him, is one of the most successful and well-respected prog bands in England. They've been around since 1999. The band's toured throughout Europe, Canada, and here in the States. They've released 12 studio albums and 6 live albums since 1999. That's a fucking huge catalog. And in 2016, they added Gavin Harrison as the drummer. He's with King Crimson and Porcupine Tree. Off the fucking chain. I mean, this, like, wow, my head exploded. Bruce's second solo record called All This Will Be Yours is being released. Well, by the time you listen to this, it'll be released about a week or two ago. It's great. We're going to talk about it today. And real quickly, just so you know, the record sounds like, I told Bruce, if you took 9 Inch Nails, Radiohead, and Tool, and they had a baby, and the baby had, you know, its own characteristics, it's a great record, man. So if you're into any of those bands, you'll love this stuff. Bruce, thanks so much for your time, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
I'm glad to be here. I'm very happy to be here.
Hey, the Pineapple Thief is about to embark on a pretty good size U.S. tour, and I've had so many guys from the U.K. tell me they can't get over here, like, for a million reasons. How the hell did you make that happen? And you got a substantial tour.
Yeah, I'm in my studio right now, packing down because we're rehearsing. We're leaving to rehearse tomorrow. It's really difficult. It's really hard. Ever since we started, people have been saying, "Why don't you come to the States? Come to USA, please." But it's very hard. It's expensive. Not only is it expensive to get there, but it's the visas. For some reason, you make it very difficult for musicians to come over to the USA. I remember talking to Gavin about it. He was saying that when King Crimson come over, Pat Mastalotto, he has to go down £5 in the post office here, and he's got his permit, got his visa. The process to come to the States it costs thousands and thousands and thousands, and it takes an awful long time. So we still haven't got our visas, so it's gone right down to the wire.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going through, so fingers crossed if nothing goes wrong, it'll be fine.
Shit,
but you know, like, there's lots of bands that is it Orange Goblin, was it?
Joe was on my show. Joe Hoare was on my show a few weeks ago. They last minute.
Yeah, I read their tweet and I thought, oh God, I could share their pain completely.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, so the fact that we come in is obviously very, very chuffed. And like you said, when Gavin came on board, that's when things sort of ramped up. More people were listening, more people were buying. So it made it financially possible.
That's great.
So I'm feel really lucky. It's taken us a long time to do it, but better late than never.
Now, of course, I'll be one of those people say, "Hey, man, how come you're not playing Florida?"
Yeah.
But you have a lot of dates, right? You have a lot of dates.
We have got a lot of dates, but we have got a bit of flack for not coming anywhere near Texas and Florida, because we're doing the East Coast, and then we're flying down to Mexico City to do a show. And then we're flying back up to Phoenix. So we're kind of missing a chunk. So hopefully when we come back
that would be great,
if all goes well, we'll make sure we do Florida and Texas.
Florida's a tough state because it's the venues are very far, and it's a big state. The venues are far apart. You know.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's not obviously USA is huge.
Yeah,
it's a huge place. It's we're saying that you can tell now, because of social media and Spotify, where your audience is. We know exactly where our audience is.
Oh, that's right. Where is most of your audience? The places you're playing?
UK is just top, then it's USA.
Yeah.
So, and then Germany. So we know that there's people in your country that want to come see us. It's just such a big place.
Yeah, it's huge. Well, like England's probably could fit in Florida.
Easy.
Yeah, that's wild. Well, man, I wish you a lot of luck with the tour. I'm really glad you got all the. I hope the visas come through for you, man.
Yeah, I know.
Nail biting that is. Man, it was funny because when my wife, who was born in England,
Yeah.
She let her passport lapse quite some time ago because she said, my kids are here. I'm not going back. But now, like I said, her mom's older, so she wanted to get her passport back so she can go through. If God forbid something happens to her mom, she don't want to wait online. Man, and she's born there. She had a birth certificate and everything. They grilled the shit out. They needed to see pictures of her aging over the years. It was
right.
It's really tough, man. So I feel for anybody that's got to travel, especially musicians. So I'll be rooting for you, man. Tell me, how'd you first get started in the music business, and like, what was your first kind of break?
So, I mean, I come from a completely unmusical family. So when I was at school, like lots of people, I guess. I got my best buddy. He introduced me into music. That's when I first got into kind of prog rock, because back then, talking the 80s, it was kind of new romantic time, Madonna, Duran, all that kind of stuff. So and the manufactured pop was coming through. So it was like, oh, I hate this. So we kind of we kind of looked back and got into the 70s, which didn't make us very cool, but it kind of made me want to pick up a guitar. So we started a band called Vulgar Unicorn, and
that's a great name. That's a great name.
It's and so we went down to the recording studio. So back in those days, you couldn't record at home. Maybe you could get a little 4-track tape recorder thing, but you had to save up your money and go down to a recording studio. So we did that. It was like 2 days, and we did 3 songs. Ridiculous, really, recording, mixing through, but it was so exciting. And we pressed up a load of cassettes, 50 cassettes. And when I got the cassettes back, I was like, oh wow, it's just we've made it. This is it.
Yeah,
this is all I need. And luckily, someone heard it at a small prog rock record label called Cyclops, and they got in contact with us and offered us a deal. And then we thought, well, that's it. We're gonna be huge global prog rock stars, because we thought, you look at Pink Floyd, with the markets out there, we're gonna be playing stadiums before you know it. So that was it. That was the break, and we were about 17, 18 at the time.
That's amazing, man. That took a lot of courage to, it's funny. And what I love about doing these interviews is to hear everybody's success story. And it's the same every time, as far as like, most people would not just go in the studio. They feel, and I've been guilty of this with things myself, that you have to, like, that life is, or whatever you're doing, it's like being a martial artist. Like, I got to get my yellow belt, then I got to get, or my white belt, and then when I get my black belt, then I could do this. But I really admire and respect someone like you that says, hey man, let's just go in the studio. You're kids.
Yeah.
You didn't need permission. You gave yourselves permission. And that is huge, man. It really is. All the credit in the world for that, man.
Yeah. No, very fond memories of those days. And it's all tape machines as well. So you had to play. You couldn't.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, are you still with Cyclops, that record label, or
no? So Cyclops. So Vulgar Unicorn released some records on Cyclops. We're talking. It was like a mail order sort of record label. It's very, very niche. But we still sold a couple of thousand, and
that's awesome.
Good. And but the trouble is, the guy my buddy in Vulgar Unicorn didn't want to play live, and I really wanted to play live. So I started the Pineapple Thief on the label, and I remember writing the very first song I ever wrote, Private Paradise, and I sent it to the guy, and he said, "Yeah, give me an album." And so I finished. So I just wrote an album, and I didn't really expect it to come to anything really. I thought it would just be one album, and that would be it. I've done it. I've tried it. I've done my thing. And so we stayed on that Cyclops for about 6 albums. And then all of a sudden we had a fan base, and not a huge one, but it was very vibrant. And there was Stephen Wilson was asking for support act. So all my fans basically bombarded him and said, we want Pineapple.
Wow.
I think that was Porcupine Tree that they wanted. And so he got in contact with me and said, "Look, you can tell them to stop badgering me now, And so I was talking to him, and he basically loved the record that I did at the time, which was Little Man, and just told me, you got to get onto a bigger label. So he was the one who introduced me to what is now Kscope. And
That's great.
he was on there with Blackfield and some of the Porcupine Tree back catalogue. So he basically was instrumental in Pineapple Thief stepping up.
Holy shit. So everything worked like organically.
It did. Yeah, you still got to ride your luck. So, I mean, you make your own luck, but,
yes,
you know, we got to a point where we were big enough to get people's attention.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to do the work. It worked organically after 6 records. It's not like the first single, like, fuck, we're in the Capitol record, you know. Yeah.
So
that's really cool, man. What a great story, man. Thank you for sharing. That is so cool. I want to talk about the new record. All This Will Be Yours, your solo record. My first question is, are you good with time management? Because like you've got a very active full-time band. I know you produce and engineer other records. You got 3 kids. Like, how the hell did you find time to record
I know.
a really good solo record?
Yeah. Well, thanks. I mean, we talk about this when we're touring in the Pineapple Thief, because we were all very, very different characters. Like John, not a bass player, and Gavin, the drummer, they're very ordered. They're very precise. They will come to a rehearsal completely organized and knowing their stuff. Whereas I'm a bit of a chaos merchant. I'll be like juggling everything. I'll be dropping things, but I'll get across the line, and I get there. But I end up doing quite a lot more. But and John, it just drives him up the wall, because he doesn't compute for him. How can I live my life like this? Somehow I get it done. I do get it done, and deadlines. I miss deadlines all the time because I just think, I can do that. And it's always better than the best case scenario to meet that deadline.
Right.
But I still get there eventually by hook or by crook. And to cut a long story short, I don't know quite how I fit it all in. I just do. I don't really give it any thought. But the big thing about the solo was that Gavin has been away with King Crimson this year. So one of the busiest touring years ever for King Crimson. Well, certainly in the last sort of 10 years. And so I didn't want to do anything with the Pineapple Thief or write without Gavin, because we've got this sort of two-way process.
Oh man, I understand that. After
so
listening,
so I just came to my studio and just was a recluse for about 4 months and wrote and recorded the solo album. That's how it happened.
Credit to you again for you've got this big catalog that you've essentially assembled and put together, and to suddenly have no problem saying, "Hey man, I want to collaborate," because to not have an ego about it. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I guess it helps when it's Gavin Harrison, because it's not just any old drummer. This is someone who can come and give you really inspirational, not just rhythmic ideas, but he comes in, listens to a song and says, "Hey Bruce, I like that, but how about chopping this and putting this here and maybe making this in a different time signature," and all that kind of stuff that I would never think about.
Right.
And that was why Your Wilderness worked so well, because we only just first met, but as soon as he heard the first song I sent him, he came back and he was coming up with all these ideas.
That's so cool.
And the songs just became so much better. So as soon as I knew that, then I was very happy just to let that control go.
Completely. Yeah. That's great. That's not easy for a lot of people. So again, credit to you.
No. I mean, I don't know why. It should be. Really, it's the best thing is to to be open.
Well, plus, I don't know, this is something as I've gotten older, it's like, I don't want to carry the whole football team. No, seriously, it's like, fuck, give me some help, man. I'm not interested in being the hero anymore.
Absolutely.
I don't need stress. I need less stress. And if that can help me, great. I don't really, Well, on the new record, did you play all the instruments?
I did. Yes.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a craft that I've learned through necessity, having, in the early days of the Pineapple Thief, where it really was a solo project, really. I had a band to play live, but all the studio albums were me. So you had to become good at, playing all the instruments and the drums, which, the technology now you can make drums sound, real.
We were talking just to let people know before the interview started. And I was like, man, there's a song on Bruce's new record called "You Hear the Voices," and I said, "Holy shit, who did the drums on there?" And he was like, "It's phenomenal, man." And you'd never, ever, ever know that it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, thanks.
Really, really great. I read somewhere, if this is not true, just let me know, that the record was inspired by the birth of your third child.
Yeah. Yes. Well, actually, it's a fourth child. I know it was in the press release. So we had our first child was unfortunately was born but only survived for 5 days.
Oh my
so he's
God.
my third. So I've got
Holy
three.
shit.
But I've got three kids now. So I've got 12-year-old twins. And then, so we just shipped them off to big school, and we were just putting our feet up. And then my wife discovered she was pregnant. So we were like, oh, right. So I was like, when I found out, I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's have a baby. And it's been the best thing. It was just been wonderful, really inspirational. So what happened was that she was born the day after I finished the Pineapple Thief tour. We knew it was going to happen because she was induced. So the doctor agreed that she would induce her the day after the tour because my wife wanted to come to the gig.
Right on. That's the kind of wife you need, man, as a musician, right?
So we drove home. Baby was born the next day. And then, so after the first sort of couple of months, I was writing quite a lot of Pineapple Thief with Gavin, but then Gavin went away with King Crimson, and I was here with the baby. I'm just looking behind me because that's where she would always asleep or just making noises, and it was just a perfect time to write music. So I would just turn around and start playing and it's not like I was writing songs about her, but she was inspiring me, and sort of gave me a unique sort of, like I say, it's not extraordinary to have a baby, but it put me in quite a strong emotional position that you don't get every day.
Right, for sure.
I bottle it, and
that's really cool.
And it inspired me to make the record. Yeah.
Your twins also girls?
No, boys.
Okay,
boys.
So,
yeah.
3 girls, man. I would say you must have been a bad man in a prior life. One thing, a lot of your music is on the dark side, and I say that I'm really attracted to that, and because you do a really good job of, it's kind of dark, but you do a great job of bringing it out and into the light.
Yeah, that's always my intention, and I don't know why. Like you say, you're attracted to the darkness. The darkness seems to be the most inspirational. It's sort of the most powerful emotion to write about, because a lot of things that don't make sense, or just when just trying to sort of understand what life is about, that's what you want to really try and get over. You want to try, right, okay, I can't articulate how I feel with words. I'm going to pick up a guitar and I'm going to try and articulate what's going through my mind, and it's the darkness that really is the overwhelming force, I think, when I'm writing. But like you said, you can't have darkness without light. And so there's a reason that I go through this melancholy, that I tackle certain dark subjects, is because it's my way of understanding and dealing with them. And then coming out the other end with the light is my intention. So I wouldn't ever want people to listen to my music and just think, oh my God, that's so depressing, because it's not.
No, it's far from it. It's beautiful, man. No, that's what Pink Floyd did. Their whole career, it's dark and they bring you up, and it's not depressing at all. I thought it was beautiful, man. It was real, but I like that. I don't want to. I think if you're a kind of an intense person, you're naturally sort of attracted to that, because how much you listen to music to feel better. And to me, like when I listen to some of your music, for example, there's like I'm touched inside, and that intensity, but it's so nice to just let go. And then I just hop on for the ride, man. And you come out and fucking sun is out,
Yes.
So it's really, it's great. I really like it. I want to talk about some of the tracks on the record that I really like. Maybe the best title of any song ever, The Solitary Path of a Convicted Man. Very prog title for sure, man. It reminds you like old, like Alan Parsons.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, kind of stuff. He had stuff like that. Great title. What is the backstory to that song?
Well, that one is probably the most personal track on the album, because it's probably is about me. Whether I wanted people to know that I'm not sure, but anyway, I've said it now. But it was,
It's
it
out.
was, it was. I think as a lifetime of chasing a passion, which I've done, you kind of make some sacrifices, and a lot of those have been my friends. You know, there's friends that I've no longer friends with because, for instance, they've come into my musical sphere, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, it doesn't work out. They're not, for instance, they're not doing what they should do or what I want them to do to be music in my musical world. The trouble is that they're also friends. So when you say, actually, this isn't working out, then it becomes something that, well, actually, that means we're no longer friends. I don't want to have anything more to do with you. And that's happened on a couple of occasions, whether it's people, musical companions, or whether it's been on tour where we've had crew members or something occasionally it's just gone wrong and we've had no choice but to let them go. It's horrible because these are friends. These are friends that you build. The music industry is so unique because you build real companionship with people. You know, you go through things. It's not like a normal job. You go through lots of intense things together. So when that ends, a lot of bitterness can come out. So that was basically, to cut a long story short, the solitary path of the convicted man was someone who has chased their passions so intently that they've made those sacrifices and can end up becoming quite a lonely person.
So you're the convicted man in a sense, because like you're convict. You know, it's like your passion has convicted you in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that's really deep.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was really cool.
That's all right. Yeah.
Really cool. Really, I have never heard, you know, the stories are similar, you know, I've never heard that. That's really intense, man. Really cool. Thank you, man. You hear the voices again. I love how that track builds and then you back it down and then you build it up again. And the keyboards and drums just really killer there. When you say you hear the voices, what voices are you referring to in that song?
I have to remember back to when I was writing that, but it was effectively, that song was about growing old together with someone who you love.
That's nice.
And there's some lines in there about, you know, we've built, this is our ocean that we're living through, that, you know, can sometimes be a cold ocean, but it's ours. And you hear the voices is sometimes when you look back on your life and you've got this nagging voice saying, have you lived your life as full as you possibly could? And of course, you're never going to. You're never going to look back on your life and say, this was it. I've made every right decision. I've made every right choice. And there wasn't ever another path that would have been a better choice, because no one can say that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why a lot of people, as they approach middle age or have their middle age crises, that's why they have them, because they look at their lives and think, well, this isn't good enough. I need to, you know, but my view is that actually, no, what we have is just, for me, is perfect. And that's what I wanted to get through on that song. You know, you hear the voices calling, but this is who we are. And
dude,
and let the water come to the door was actually, don't go out the door and try and find this other life. Is actually kind of get into the ocean. This is our ocean together. So is that kind of thing.
Man, you are a super deep guy.
But actually talking about it, it's probably, it sounds a bit.
No, it's great, man. I mean, look, first of all, I'd never heard that before. That was a brave statement that you made, in a sense. You said, you know, everybody's like, well, have I lived my life? And you just like helped me, actually. When you said nobody ever does, I'm like, yeah, why do I stress about that's not realistic? You know, that's like something that the fucking self-help guru says to sell books, but it's not realistic. It's not possible. It's like finishing your to-do list. Ain't gonna happen.
No, it's not.
You know, because it's always growing.
Yeah.
Are you that is a very forgiving, like forgiving with yourself thing. Are you like that in general?
I've grown to be a lot. I don't know if it's a common thing as you get older, but I've become a lot more stoical about everything, you know. And I because I think in my 20s I was quite an angry young kid. Or, you know, quite nihilistic, and I went through this sort of nihilistic phase where I hated everything. I thought, what's the point in life? And then I sort of woke up and just realized, well, no, actually, you got to. This life is wonderful. You're not going to be here forever. That's one thing's for sure. And just just make the most. Wake up and just, you know, like Pink Floyd say, breathe in the air.
Yeah.
And just look up. And, you know, even, you know, some days when you wake up and you think, oh God, I always have to take a step back, put my perspective goggles on, tell myself, come on, Bruce, get your perspective right, because your life is fucking brilliant. So enjoy it. And that's generally what I try, and, you know, that's my philosophy and that's probably why I'm quite mellow. I've grown mellow.
That's awesome, man. That's really good. Yeah, I work really hard to cut myself more slack because I have always been way too demanding and unforgiving of myself. And I'm really now in my mid-50s, but really working deliberately hard to do that because, like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, you know, what am I, like an evil guy? No. So just back off, man. You know, cut yourself. I cut others slack, so I just need to cut myself slack on that.
Yeah.
I found that what you said was a very forgiving, realistic thing of, man, you're not going to do all those things on your checklist. You're not going to live the life that you want to live, but you can have a pretty good life anyway. Yeah. You know, so thank you. Right. And then One Day I Will Leave You. Beautiful, beautiful acoustic song, man. Tell me about that one.
Well, that one, I when I was writing the lyrics, because the actual imagery I had in my head, I was looking at my daughter and I was thinking, one day, you are going to be on the front row of my funeral. And you think, oh God, you know, those are the kinds of things that flash through your head. Sure. And normally you would just go, right, no, I'm not, I don't want to confront that image or that thought, because it's going to happen one day, but I don't want to think about it. I thought, no, stop that. Let's write a song about it. And I was writing the lyrics and I was thinking, can I really write this, let alone sing it?
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah. So, but I did. And like you say, it's still a positive thing because no matter what your beliefs, one thing that is unquestionable is if your time with people that you love cannot ever be replaced. It will always be there. Yeah. So there's a lyric in there, all those perfect moments in time bound into one is what my daughter will have when I'm gone. And nothing can take that away from her. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So it kind of makes you think, right, let's make the most of it. Let's get those experiences and those times, those moments as good as they possibly can be. Yeah. But it was, so... Yeah, it's quite heavy.
Yeah, really. It's interesting. My kids are quite a bit older than yours because I'm probably quite a bit older than you. And they're 29, 27, and 19. Two older ones live on their own, had their own families. And whenever they come over, like they were just here this weekend, it was so nice. I make sure I soak up every second of that. Yeah. Even if I'm not, just to watch the three of them talk, because of what you just said, man, because I'm aware of that clock, you know, I'm healthy, thank God, but it's going to happen, man. And I want to make sure that we are connected, you know, spiritually all the time. You know? So it's really a good thing. When you write a song, and because you're so prolific, how do you know if it's a Pineapple Thief song or a Bruce Soord song?
It's a good question. I mean, and now, when it goes into the Pineapple machine, it will just turn into something completely different anyway. So I think I've got quite a nice sort of solo and Pineapple Thief path. But there's occasions where I've thought, this song I could imagine working really well with a Pineapple Thief arrangement, and, you know, Gavin coming on board. And so I will say, what do you guys think of this? And they'll go, oh yeah, Brucey, I can really hear something on that. And so then I think, right, let's let the Pineapple Thief do that. Threatening War of Dissolution was one of those songs. And then quite often I'll send a song, and like Steve, our keyboard player, he's brutally honest. And so if I send a song...
Is he American?
No. He's down the road from me. It's like, it's good. I hate him, but it's good because... You don't want someone to just sugarcoat it and say, "Hey, Bruce, that's a great song."
It's great. Yeah.
You want them to tell you, "No, Bruce, it's not really doing it. It's not really doing it." So, but Steve, I just spent the last 5 days every day working on that song. But you just got to get used to that. That's part of the process.
Yeah.
So yeah, he would. But sometimes those ideas I will come back and I will pluck them out and I will completely rearrange them for my solo project as well. But yeah, so it's nice. It's nice that I've got a true collaborative band that is the band, and then I've got my solitary world, which is the solo.
That's great, man. Really good. What is your favorite song on the new record?
I don't know. It changes. I do. Do you know what? I can't even remember the name of it.
I get it. It's totally. What's that?
Our Gravest Threat Apart is probably my favorite at the moment, only because that song went through an awful lot of different ideas. I had it originally as a guitar thing with, and it just changed into this sort of more synthy, dark track, and so that's the one I enjoy listening to most of them at the moment.
Very cool, man. It's a great record. I'd love everybody to listen to it. It's called All This Will. Sorry, I can't remember anything now. Like, so when you say, "Oh, I don't remember," I totally get it because you get so much information going through.
Yeah.
All This Will Be Yours. It's a really great record, and it's available any place you stream records. Have you played any of these tracks live, and will you be playing some of them in the tour next month?
No, we're might be playing any in the tour, but I've been offered a couple of shows in Europe, so I'm going to get a 3-piece band and just take it on the road to it's be more intimate sort of show.
That's really cool, man.
So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Watch this space is the current situation with that.
That's very cool. Are you going to be like brutal with the drummer? Like it's going to be hard to play those fills you got, man.
Yeah, I know. We got a really good drummer. I mean, I haven't ever. It's John, my bass player, is going to come out with me. So so he's a jazz. He plays in a lot of jazz bands, and so he's got a drummer that he plays with. So I'm hoping.
Yeah. Well, if he's a jazz drummer, he should be able to do those fills.
She'll bring a lot to it.
I read that early on in your career, you used to have terrible stage fright.
Yeah, I did. And I kind of wondered why the hell I was doing it, because I used to hate it. And a lot of stage fright is to do, well, obviously it's to do with confidence. But the reason I didn't have any confidence was because the band was just not good enough. I wasn't good enough. We weren't rehearsed enough. And it's a bit of a vicious circle, because when you're struggling in the early days of being in a band, you probably haven't got much money. You're probably having to work a day job. So you don't get any time to rehearse. And when you do get to rehearse, it's really rushed. And you don't get to go on tours. You probably get to do the odd show. So everything rests on that one show. You do a rehearsal, get in the van, do one gig. And the pressure to play that one gig is immense. And it's never the first show of a tour is never the best show ever.
Yeah.
So it was, I just stood on the side of the stage and thinking, God, this is, we didn't know whether we could get through a song, let alone set. And so I used to drink before shows because I was so nervous, and that just made it 10 times worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how we got through it, actually. I remember one point, John, my bass player, who I've known since I was 18 years old, he said, he looked at me and I was a bit tipsy and the gig was going not very well at all. And he just said, right, that's it, I'm going to quit. I don't want to do this anymore. And somehow we came off that, away from the precipice, and sorted ourselves out.
That's great.
We just decided, right, either we do this properly or we don't do it at all. And then my stage fright started to go. So as the shows went better and the band played better, the stage fright went. I think it's a direct correlation between how confident you are and how good your band is, and how frightened you are. So now I've got I just enjoying it so much. I'm at the side of the stage and I walk out and go, yeah, this is who we are and this is what we're playing. And right. I don't have any stage fright at all, which thank goodness.
Well, you got pride of ownership in what you do, and that's important.
Yeah.
And you wanted it to do a first class job. So I totally get that, man. I'd be scared shit too if I thought I'm going out there and I'm like, oh my God, hope is not a good strategy here. You got to get it rehearsed.
No,
good for you,
incompatible. Yeah.
What would you say the top 3 musical experiences you've had?
So I think, well, we probably all have been when we play live. Obviously, the studio work is great, but live is such an intense hit, so it always gives you those memories. And I remember the first time we played, there's a venue in London called Shepherd's Bush Empire, and we had, we're talking about Stephen Wilson earlier, but we had we supported Blackfield, which is one of his bands that he did, and they played in Shepherd's Bush Empire, and it was packed, and we supported them, and we went down brilliantly, and we walked off stage and thought, right, that's it, that's what we want more of this. And we always had this joke that we say, right, one day we're going to come back and we're going to sell out the Shepherd's Bush Empire, and we did. Well, we didn't quite sell it out, and frustratingly, but it was packed. So we came back last year, literally a year ago, and played our headline show at the Shepherd's Bush. So that was probably my second. The first one was first time.
Yeah.
Then we came back and played a headline show. So it's those kind of moments where you think, right, that I remember coming off and talking to the guide and saying, at what point do you actually say to yourself, yeah, we've made it as a band? You always say as a band, right, I want to make it. What does make it mean? And
what does it mean for you guys? Yeah. For you, rather.
It doesn't anymore. I just don't have that. Don't have that sort of factor in what we do. I think we probably made it a long, long time ago, and now we just don't focus on that. So we don't focus on sort of thinking, right, I want to sell more records, I want to play bigger gigs, all that kind of that's not really what inspires us to continue. What inspires us to continue is to still make great records. I know that sounds cheesy.
No, man, it sounds great, and that's what you're doing.
That sounds great. And as soon as we stop, me personally, as soon as I stop worrying, losing sleep at night, going, why aren't we bigger? Why aren't we selling more records? As soon as I stopped chasing that, then all of a sudden we started playing bigger shows and selling more records, because I was really coming. The pressure and the stress had just completely gone. I just came and wrote music, and that's
awesome. And you write great music. Do you know who you remind me of? Your sound a little bit with the band. Do you know Crippled Black Phoenix?
Oh, yeah.
Justin Greaves. You guys. I had him on this show. He's a fucking intense dude. Holy shit. He's very
really nice guy.
Really nice guy, man. So cool. But the intensity that you put into what you do is very similar.
Right.
You know, and he, his songs tend to be longer, but you're not dissimilar in the genre
I remember
of music.
We played a festival once, and we were before Crippled Black Phoenix, and we did one of the big no-nos. We overran our set by about 10 minutes, which is a festival was like, so Crippled Black Phoenix had a really fast changeover, and I was afterwards, I thought, oh my God, we ran over. And I went to find him afterwards, and he was the nicest guy. He says, don't worry about it, Bruce, it's cool, so.
Yeah, he's a real good guy.
Really cool guy.
Yeah, that's funny. That's good that you know him. Where did you grow up, and what was your childhood like?
My childhood was pretty straightforward. I was quite a loner. I grew up in this town here called Yeovil.
Where is it?
In the southwest of UK, so it's not far from Glastonbury.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a pretty simple life. My mum and dad they didn't have any musical passion at all. My dad was in the army, so he was quite
like RAF,
Army Air Corps. So
okay.
It's the army, but the flying bit of it. So he's very disciplined, and I don't know why I became.
Yeah, it's interesting. That sometimes that happens, man. You go one way or the other because you're like you can't take whatever. Oh man, I'm not going to tie my shoelaces the same way you are, man. I just
I could do with some more discipline. That's for sure. But so yeah, it was really when, like I said earlier, when I met my best friend at school, Neil Randall. That was when my life sort of changed and I became interested in music. But before that, it was a very sort of simple, straightforward path that I had as a child.
Very cool, man. You were pretty much drawn to prog and alternative from the beginning, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was. I went to my mate's house, and his dad had a big record collection, and he put on you mentioned Alan Parsons. He put on Tales of Mystery and Imagination, his first album.
Great album.
I remember picking the album up, and it was a gatefold, and it had Hypnosis sleeve, and I was like, oh my God.
That's right.
What is this world? It was just this new world of prog, 70s prog rock.
Yeah.
Just completely enticed me into it, because at the time it was the 80s and the music was shit. So, or most of it. I don't think the 80s was a great decade for music.
No. I mean, especially the early part.
Yeah. So we went back to the 70s, and I think that's my formative years as a musician and a guitarist. That was what influenced me.
Low points or dark periods, have you had any, and how did you get through them?
Well, I mean, personal level, I mean, we lost our first child.
Yeah, man. You know, I got to just tell you, I was shriveled when you said that. I'm so sorry for that you had to experience that, man.
It happens to a lot of people. Yeah. And so that was tough. But it certainly made my relationship with my wife strong. So we got through it together. And, you know, so it still now, you know, it still informs some of the thoughts and the music.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So that was a dark time. I think musically there's been some in the band, you know, we've had some moments where you think, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to, everyone was saying, let's just jack it in. You do bad gigs. But yeah, but apart from that, I think that we've been very lucky in terms of the dark times. Obviously, touch wood. Yeah,
man, I'm really happy for you. And again, I'm just sorry that you guys had to go through that. It's
yeah. Thanks.
Any things that you've done that were difficult at the time, but you did them anyway, and they were really positive, big breakthroughs unexpectedly?
I think the biggest, the hardest thing, like I said before, is getting the band into shape. And I had a day job. I had a 9 to 5. I was cycling every day, and then coming back and then having to get to become the better songwriter and the better musician. It costs family time. So time I should have been spending with my mates or with my family, I'd be up here in my studio desperately trying to get the band together. So but I had to do it. And when I look back on it now, the fact now I'm a full-time musician, I get to work 9 to 5 in my studio and spend quality time now with my family, probably in the best years of their lives. So I'm glad I did, in hindsight, I'm glad I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is good. A lot of people think very mistakenly, oh, these guys just blew up. And it's always like, what? Blew up after like 10 fucking years of sleeping on a floor, maybe, and it's hard. And people don't realize that, how tough it is to become successful in music or in anything, to be honest with you.
Yes, very difficult.
Any advice, Bruce, that you would have given younger Bruce that might have made your life easier?
I think take yourself more, maybe not take yourself more seriously, but have more confidence in yourself. I wish that I had almost like one of those life coaches that says, come on, Bruce, you can do it. Come on. Because I didn't have that person. I was just like, I guess for a long time, I always knew that I had a knack for melody. Because I would look at other people and say, why aren't you coming up with a better melody? Because I could come up with something much better than that straight away. So I knew I had something, but I didn't really think that I was that great a songwriter that I could be in a band that would be successful. But I wish I would go back now and say, actually, Bruce, yeah, you could do it. You are a good songwriter and you can do it. And for that reason, it took me probably a longer. But then in hindsight of things, I think things happen for a reason. I think that, we met Gavin at the right time in our careers. It took me 20 years of working to get to a decent level and for Gavin to want to join the band.
Yeah.
So I think, it was, and like I said, when I was 14, when I picked up my guitar, I didn't have a clue what music was. I didn't know how to tune the thing up. So it took me 6 months to figure out how to tune it, let alone play it. So,
are you self-taught?
Yeah, completely.
Really?
I've got terrible technique. The way I hold a plectrum is, terrible, really. But yeah, totally self-taught.
That's amazing, man. You're a very good player. I mean, everything is melodic, harmonic. I mean, to your comment though, don't you think you get confidence by doing the things you're afraid of doing anyway? Like, there's very few people that are just, I mean, I know they're out there, but by and large, most people are not, unless you had this amazing, like, mom and dad were into self-development, and it's, you get confidence by doing the hard stuff.
Do. And I think the people that do come across who have that extreme confidence are probably lying.
A lot of them, it's like covering up insecurity. Like,
they would go home and go, "Oh my God, I got to do." Then, so yes, I think you're right. So going on those stages when I was petrified, something you've got to do. And so now I can go onto a stage and it doesn't petrify me because I've done it. I've been through those times where I've been terrified. It affects your performance. People don't buy into you as a frontman because they know that you're showing a little bit of fear. You're looking at, in the early days, I used to make mistakes and then apologize after the song. "Oh, I'm really sorry." It's like, oh my God, if I could go back and tell myself, rule one, never apologize to an audience.
Because they don't know.
They don't know. Yeah. No. And if they did know, it doesn't matter. Dare forget about it. Just move on.
People are forgiving.
So, so it's
Speaking of guitar, let's talk about, I see a whole rack of guitars. You're probably packing them up.
I am, yeah.
What's your number one, like the guitar you go to that you like to play the most?
Funny that, isn't it? Because I know what my number one guitar is because you don't think about it. When I'm songwriting, I look at my guitars, I just go and pick that guitar up. It's actually the one just here. It's this, it's a PRS.
Can you hold it?
I never thought I'd be a PRS guy.
Oh, that's a beautiful guitar. It's like a Sunburst Les Paul kind of.
Yeah, it's basically it's an SC250. So it's a quite heavy, really solid bodied. I've got a friend of mine called Darren Charles who plays in a band called Goldsticks. He brought it over and he said, "Bruce, this guitar is just perfect for you." I don't know where he got it from, but he ended up giving it to me.
Wow.
So, it was a really nice thing for him to do, and it's
is really incredibly nice.
Yeah, my number one guitar, and I've changed pickups, slightly higher output, Seymour Duncan's in there, but nothing too wild. It's just and also you can throw it around because when I'm playing live, I just throw my guitar all over the place, and it just survives. It comes back.
It's a beautiful guitar. I didn't know they have a body that's so close to a Les Paul.
Yeah,
it's like a Les. Yeah,
it's not a particularly common one. I don't see very many people playing them, but
beautiful burst.
That's beautiful.
What is I've never played a PRS. What is different? What about that guitar do you like?
It's just, it feels really well crafted. I haven't played that many short scale guitars because I've never really played a Les Paul. I've picked a few up before, but so I can't really compare it to a Gibson, but it just feels all the way up and down the fret. Every note just feels really resonant and really, really nice. Before that, I was really a Telecaster guy.
Hold on a second. That's a fat neck, but it looks thin.
Yeah, it is fat, actually.
It's like wide, but it looks like it's slim. Like it's not fat. It's not like a thick, chunky neck.
No, I don't know.
It looks like a really nice neck.
It just feels really smooth. So that's definitely my go-to. So that's the one I play all the time.
What would be your next? What would round out your top three? You mentioned Telly.
So, this one here is This is an old. Well, it's not an old Telly, but it's my Telly 3-saddle bridge. The 3-saddle bridge just makes it sound quite wild. So this is my wild guitar when I want it something a bit naughty and a bit sort of wow. But it's not. I can't use it on every song. But it's also got a kill switch. I put in. So it's so you can do. There's one song we do called 3,000 Days that has a real rhythmic
okay
kill switch. So that's my number 2, the old Telecaster. So really, it's that really rounds it off for me. Those two I've got the naughty telly and the PRS, which is the
naughty telly. There's certain words that, like, when British people say them, because the accent, you know, I love English accent, like most Americans do, and it's so funny when you say certain, like naughty. It's such a British. It's like so very English, man. It cracks me up, just the way you say it. What would be number 3?
I'm trying to think. Well, it'll probably have to be an acoustic. So I've got this. I'm really lucky that I've got Taylor gave me a load of guitars.
That's really
a load too.
Did you deal with Taylor here?
I have. I dealt with Taylor in USA, but I bought one at decent artist rates. But these ones came from Europe.
Okay. Did you deal with Tim Godwin?
I can't remember now.
Yeah, he's probably the guy you dealt with.
It was a lady in the USA who.
Okay. I don't know her then.
But yeah, this is I have to keep reminding me. This is the 510. Do you know what? In my old age.
Dude, I feel you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so this is the 510E. So it's got like the old sort of style headstock.
Yeah, I like that. I actually like that.
So this is the one. This is my sort of songwriting guitar that I just carry around with me all around. It follows me everywhere. So that's where the songs are born.
So you're really like between the PRS and the Tele, you're pretty, and then the acoustic, you're sorted, man, forever.
I am, yeah. Well, actually, I've got one little curious one here, which is this is one I bought off from Taylor USA, which is a baritone.
Oh, a lot of people play those.
But it's an 8-string baritone. So it's got it's not quite in tune, but these two middle ones are 12-string sort of.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, but this is quite inspirational just to give you a different register.
Yeah. It's beautiful guitar, man. Yeah. Really pretty. That looks pretty new.
That is, yeah. I bought that a couple of years ago when I was in the States doing some acoustic shows. So I would
imagine it's a hell of a lot cheaper to pick up a guitar here than over in. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a nice little guitar, that one.
What was the first CD you ever bought, or album? What's the first album you ever bought?
Oh, I think it was I remember I was like about 8 years old. It was a Status Quo live record.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah. I don't play it, put it that way.
And what's your top, when I say Desert Island Discs, I mean entire albums, because I know there's a program over there that singles, but top 3 records.
Top 3, it would have to be a Pink Floyd, probably Dark Side of the Moon. I could never really choose between Dark Side and Wish You Were Here. I'd then pick a Beck record.
Which one?
Sea Change.
He's super talented, man.
Yeah, unbelievable. I think,
Which one? I'm sorry.
Sea Change.
Yeah, that's a great. You know what? I think Smokey Hormel is the guitar player on there. I had him on my show. He's really interesting.
You're joking. The guitar playing on that is amazing. Yeah. And the bass player, the whole rhythm section is just unbelievable.
It's a great record, man.
Never tires listening to that record. And then, I don't know, number 3, it'd probably have to be another 70s proggy record, probably Crime of the Century by Supertramp. I always enjoyed that one.
Wow, I haven't heard that in a long time.
It's probably just that's a time and a place. I just remember as a kid.
Sure.
Play that album all the time.
Best decision you ever made?
Giving up the day job, taking the plunge. So like I said earlier, the pressure of the family when you have a day job that you're not really passionate about and you come back to home to your real passion. And I'd be in the studio till 11 o'clock at night. And, so my wife said, no, I'll support you. Let's do this full time. And when I made the jump, it was scary because I wasn't making enough money as a musician, but it's just worked out. And everyone I know who's made the jump somehow just makes it work. They make it work out. So that was the best decision.
How long have you been with your wife?
Oh my God. So I met her, I was 22, she was 18.
Wow.
Or 17, just turned 18. So yeah, 20. So nearly 25 years.
Wow. Congrats. You sound like you got a really nice relationship.
Yeah, I mean, we've had our ups and downs, challenges.
Of course, man. Who doesn't? That's not. I love these people who say, "Oh, we never argue." I'm like, "Okay, you fucking lying."
Yeah,
I mean, do you speak to each other? Like, we never argue. Okay, great. Yeah,
we're going through a really good phase at the moment where we do never argue at the moment. But we've had some huge rows. Which
how do you not?
Yeah, and I've written some really good songs after those rows. So it's worth it.
Right on, man. Well, congratulations. That's a long time. I'm glad. It sounds like you're real happy, man. Most important things that you've learned about yourself.
The most important thing, it's really a horrible thing to admit, is that I am good at what I do.
You are fucking good at what you do, man.
That's probably not something that I understood at an early stage. That's not saying that I'm the best at what I do by any stretch of the imagination. I there's always more to do, but I certainly have much more confidence in myself.
Man, you're excellent at what you do, and I think it's important. It's like a doctor almost. When you go into the doctor, you want him or her, you want that person to feel good, to project that their confidence, not arrogance, but confidence, because you feel safe. And it's the same thing, man. When you're in front of an audience, when I'm going to a concert, I want to be entertained. I don't want to do the work.
Yes.
I'm there to let go, man, so I want to know I'm in good hands. And
yes.
It's good that you feel that way, Megan. It's true.
Like you say, it's a fine line. Confidence and arrogance is a very fine line. So it's something I'm always conscious of.
Yeah, but I think you're either arrogant or you're not.
Yeah, true.
If you're arrogant, I have this saying that I got from a buddy of mine: how you do one thing is how you do everything. Right. And you're either humble in everything or arrogant in everything. Is really, it's like being pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. Right? It's like, and that's what I've found. There's nothing arrogant. You're nothing remotely arrogant about you. So man, confidence is great. Best childhood memory.
Oh, that's a good one. I think, like you say, that my childhood was when I met my buddy Neil Randall, and we used to every weekend we used to go to our little rock and pop music shop, and we used to hire a 4-track recorder and a drum machine, and we spend all weekend making this extreme death metal. It was so it's like. And he would be singing through a pair of headphones, like, because they can work as a microphone, because we couldn't afford a mic. So he was like, we were so proud of it. So,
And he was a guy in Vulgar Unicorn.
Yeah.
You still friends with him?
Yeah. He lives just down the road. I mean, we're not. Paths have gone slightly because he got disillusioned with the music business. So, and I stuck at it. And, we still see each other.
That's cool, man. Something about yourself people might be surprised to hear or find a little odd.
Yes. No, that's a good question, isn't it? It's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, I've got quite a soup of ancestry. I've got this quite brown. I'm quite brown because I've got some Burmese ancestry.
Oh, cool.
So I don't think I don't know if there's any Burmese sort of rock bands, but so I might lay claim to the first one.
There you go, man. That's very cool. It's funny, man. There's a big difference when I talk to Brits, baby boomer and under,
right,
and baby boomer and older. Like, you're very open. And like, very, emotional, and I, connect well with that. I mean, I connect well with pretty much anybody, but I enjoy that, and I get a good vibe with that. And when you talk to the Brits that are a little older, it's a little more
sort of classic reserved
British gentleman kind of thing. And everybody's real nice, but it's just a very big difference. I notice it as far as opening up emotionally. And it's very interesting, because my wife has asked me about that a couple of times, because being from there, and I said, this the age thing, but I think most people are pretty open now.
Yeah.
Most important thing your dad taught you?
Well, I see. We said this earlier, like the discipline, but really, so when I say, yeah, I am a chaos merchant.
I love that. I've never heard that, by the way. I wrote that. That's going to be your quote for the, I'm a bit of a chaos merchant. I've never heard that. That was classic, man.
So I have to work on the discipline so that it doesn't come naturally. But I know, because I'm not totally stupid, you know that you can't just, you have to have discipline. You have to work. I'm sat here in my studio because I built it, and I had that discipline to make that happen.
Man, 12 studio records, 6 live records, 5 I think EPs, and then 2 solo records. I would say you're disciplined, man.
Yeah, true.
Maybe you're not structured, but you're definitely disciplined to get stuff done. I mean, that's a massive catalog.
Yes,
I mean, really, that's massive, and it's 20 years. That's that's huge. And I get the sense that you're just kind of kicking into full stride now. So you're probably going to have a bunch more. So that's great.
I think we are. Yeah, Indian Summer. Yeah.
Most important thing your mom taught you?
I think because like I said before, my father was in the army, very, very disciplined, and like you say, pre-baby boomer, so that there was no such thing as sharing emotion or anything like that. My mum was the complete opposite. She was just like the loving one. So I think she taught me to show my heart.
That's really cool. That's and it's, of course, so important as a musician.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially a songwriter. You have any hobbies outside of music? You said cycling.
No, cycle was I had to cycle to work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a chore.
God, that would
get me fit though. I play football, although I'm getting old. So soccer, sorry.
Yep. Translating.
So I still play, but I get a bit old and slow in my old age. But that was such a release. When you're the musician, and especially a songwriter, it doesn't ever leave you, these songs, and you're in bed or in walking around the supermarket, you're thinking about the melodies and the words. But when you're playing football, you're only thinking about that ball. Chasing that ball, winning the game, and I love it.
Must be good to get out too, because it's a very solitary job, vocation you have, and you're up in your head a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's probably good to get out. Favorite place you've traveled?
It was when back in early 90s, I went on a road trip with my mates around the States. Actually,
did you really?
Yeah. So just lovely memories of being young kids, on an adventure.
What was some of your favorite places here?
So I remember we drove down from Montreal to Boston through in the fall. So it was
all the leaves.
Yeah, and then down on to New York. So that's as far as we actually went. So we did a bit of Canada and then came down and then back up to Toronto. So, but I remember the drive to Boston was long, but it was amazing. Just had the vast expanse you just don't get in England, because we're just such a crowded island. Yeah, appreciate how much space there is.
Oh, there's tons of space here. Yet, if you go like north of England, it's not congested. It's so open. It's beautiful.
Yeah, in Scotland especially.
Yeah, really pretty. 3 more questions, man, and I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this, and I really appreciate your time, man. Anything you wish you did differently?
I am thinking about that now, because like I said, I'm just a stoic that tries not to have any regrets about the mistakes you make, because there's just no point in going back and thinking, I wish
there really isn't.
I wish no. I mean, I wish that but bass player always gets angry with me because I'm quite lazy, so I don't rehearse enough. I didn't ever take my voice seriously, so I didn't warm up. So I wish that I did what I'm doing now earlier, because I had singing lessons. I go through proper warm ups, and I every day I do singing exercises. So now my vocal cords are so much stronger, and my voice is now an instrument. Whereas before, in the early days, I didn't really have the control of my voice. and I actually sounded like a whiny Billy Corgan. You know, it was like it wasn't great, my voice.
I gotta I gotta tell you, man, your voice is beautiful. I was just like, I couldn't believe how you get those high notes, and it's just so controlled.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a gift.
Blossomed late in life, so I'm glad.
Oh,
So, yeah.
No, whatever you're doing, it's definitely paying off. I mean, I listened to the whole record several times already, and that was the first. I was like, oh my God, how does, it's not easy to do that and to control it. It's like just perfectly in tune.
Yes, no, it's not.
Funniest thing that's ever happened to you on stage or in the studio?
Well, funny. I mean, I remember we're talking about stage fright, and we had a big gig. It was a prog festival, but there was about 4,000 people there. So it was the biggest gig by far we'd ever done. And I thought, right, we've got to really go out and kick ass, and we're going to show them how confident we are. So I went out and did some kind of stupid scissor kick or jump and kicked out my lead and went to play this first chord, and nothing came out. And I was like,
oh my God.
Which is every guitarist or frontman's nightmare. And I turned around to try and find my lead, and Steve, my keyboard player, because he's got a terrible memory, he has notes for his music. And a gust of wind came. This was before, and blew all his notes, and he was running around the stage. And I just stood there thinking, I said, it's not funny, but I look back and I can laugh about it now.
Yeah.
At the time, it was probably one of the most. How we came back from that, I have no idea.
So his notes are blown all over. Your lead is gone. Oh my God.
Now he's got an iPad with his note. That's not going to blow anywhere. And,
sure.
And I've got a wireless, so I can't kick this up.
Touche, man. Right on there. And last question, what's been the biggest change in your personality, Bruce, over the last 10 years, say, and how much of that is intentional and how much is just a part of aging?
Good question. I don't know how much. I've just mellowed out so much. And like I said, I'm just so much more stoical about stuff. And I don't know how much. I say to John, how everyone sort of says how, and I think Gavin noticed it when he joined the band and came on tour, how chilled out everyone is. How much of a laugh we have. There's never any arguments. Everyone's just really chilled out. And I say, well, actually, it's a lot easier to be chilled out and stoic when things are going well. So the band's doing really well. I wake up and think, yes, this is great. So it's a lot easier for me to say, yeah, I'm chilled out, I'm mellow. When things are going bad, that's when you really, it's really,
see how mellow you are.
Yeah. So I think that's what taught me when I look back at myself 10 years ago when I was angry, I'm no longer angry. And I don't know how much of that is growing old and mellow, how much of it is due to the pressure being off a bit. I don't know, but it's definitely recommended. And I'm hoping I can stay like this. But
you will. Hey, listen, first of all, thank you for everything. You're a lovely guy, man. You're an incredibly talented musician, man, in everything you do, writing, playing, your solo record, The Pineapple Thief. I wish you all the success in the world. Let me tell people a few things you got going on. First of all, it's Bruce Soord, S-O-O-R-D. The Pineapple Thief is the band, but I want you to check out right now Bruce Soord's solo album, All This Will Be Yours. The Pineapple Thief is going on an extensive tour throughout the States. You guys have great websites, and you have it's thepineapplethief.com.
That's right. Yeah. So all the dates are on there. Yeah.
Great. Go to thepineapplethief.com. There's you probably got about 15 to 20 shows. 20.
Yeah. Over 20. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Over 20 shows here in the States. And then you got a bunch coming up in Europe after that, I think, right?
Yeah, so we got the States tour, but we haven't announced the next European tour yet. But what we'll be doing is we'll be doing the North America, then coming back and finishing the Pineapple Thief album.
Awesome.
New one, and then touring that, and hopefully coming back to the States before our visas run out.
Oh my God, that would be great. When is the Pineapple Thief new album going to come out?
Hopefully before summer 2020. That's the plan.
Wonderful. And please come back on the show. I'd love to turn people on to it.
Yeah,
great. My great pleasure to do that. Also, on Amazon for you guys here in the States, if you want to get merch, go on Amazon. All the stuff is there. If you're over in Europe, go to thepineapplethief.com or brucesoord.com website. And again, it's Soord, S-O-O-R-D. Social media, you guys are all on all the social media channels.
Got to be nowadays.
And I think it's about it. Any final words of wisdom, man?
No, I think you've got all the wisdom out of me.
You're a very smart guy. I really, really have a lot of respect for you. You really said a couple of things that were very helpful to me, especially this one thing that you'll never get it all done. And I got to remember that, man. And I'm working hard. Anyway, man, hold on. Let me just wrap up. Thank you for everything. I really appreciate it. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels and tell your friends about it. Thanks very much to Bruce Soord for spending time with us. Please check out the latest tour with the Pineapple Thief. They got about 20-something dates here in the States. Then they'll be going on to Europe and hopefully back to the States. All This Will Be Yours is the new Bruce Soord album. It is really great. Please listen to it and get turned on to the band too. So when the next Pineapple Thief album comes out, you already know their catalog. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice. So choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. Thank you, Bruce.
Thanks.